Yo, what up? How's it going? And welcome back for another video. In today's video, I will be sharing my top 5 tips and mistakes for beginners in TFT Set 6. Now, I've been playing this game for a long time. I've been Challenger since Set 4. I've been a beginner at this game myself, and I just want to share with you some of the things that I think are most important. Now, before we get into the topics, each of the topics and concepts we're going to talk about in this video, I'm going to go through them kind of quickly and keep them as basic as possible so they're easy to understand and not overload you with information. But if you want to know more about each topic, and each of these topics, there's a lot more to know about. I do have videos made on these topics or videos in production right now that are going to be covering all of these topics. So I'll leave links in the end cards, in the description, and pinned comment below. Yes. All right, cool. With that out of the way, let's just get into it and let's talk about it. I think this is a very important video if you are a new player, or if you are even a player who's played for a while, but you are like trapped in like silver to platinum. And even if you're in diamond or or you can't ever get past low master, what has happened if you've been playing for a while and you really can't get past plateau is you have developed bad habits. This is really common in every video game. If you develop bad habits, it's very difficult to get out of them until someone tells you what your bad habits are, and then you actually take it to heart and actively try to fix it. But if you're a beginner player, great time to learn some good habits, because now you can avoid those. I think building good habits so important. Okay, now this is one of the things you probably all have heard if you've ever played TFT longer than a day. You've probably all heard this, but it is so important. It's so important. It's one of the biggest noob traps. All right. Slam your items. Best in slot doesn't matter. Now, if you guys have watched any of my videos, I'm a huge hater of people who ask best in slot. You can ask best in slot, that's fine. But it is the dumbest detail to focus on ever. One of the biggest noob traps is focusing on best in slot. We'll talk about it here. This is the biggest and easiest noob trap to fix. Yeah, good news, really easy to fix. Building items on your early game carries is a great way to save HP, as well as solidify direction for your game. What I mean by solidify direction, you know, if you build a blue buff and a jeweled gauntlet on a carry early game, well, that tells you that this is a good looking Lux game, right? Or at the bare minimum, it's telling you this is a good game to play some AP, or maybe play an assassin or something like that with your jeweled. So that is what that's telling you. So building items in the early game helps you give direction. Now, if you're one tricking, that doesn't really work, obviously. But if you're one tricking, I don't know how to help you. Cool. So with this information, who are the best early game carries for each late game carry? Great question. I have a video dedicated just to this topic because, you know, you really do have to go through each unit. You know, for example, TF is a great item holder for Lux. He's a good blue buff user. He's a good jeweled and IE user. He's a good death cap user. All good items on Lux, and he fits naturally in her tree, so you can just pivot into that. So that's an example of one. And so if you want to know all of the best early game carries, or, you know, most of the best early game carries, I do have a video dedicated to this topic because it is, you know, a long discussion that we're not going to have in this video. Okay, best in slot items is only useful information to give you direction on what to build and know which carries are playable with your items. So, like, for example, at the time of me making this video, best in slot on Lux, if you're going to play the Arcanist variation or Academy Vertical, the best items on her are Blue Buff, Jeweled Gauntlet, and Infinity Edge. Okay, that's good information to know if you have built early game and you built a Blue Buff and you built a Jeweled. That's good information to know, because you can go, oh, okay, this is a very good game to play Lux, right? That is the only part that it's useful. The bad thing about focusing on best in slot is you might think that if I don't have a blue buff, if I don't have a jeweled gauntlet, if I don't have an infinity edge with that, I cannot play Lux, which is not true. You could totally play Lux with a Sojin, Death Cap, and an Archangels. You could totally play her with that. It's fine. It's just not as perfect as the other variation. You can also play Lux full damage, no AP items if you're playing Scholars. If you're playing 4 Scholars or 6 Scholars or something like that. You know what I mean? So the point is, stop trying to make best in slot items. Sometimes it is important enough to hold best in slot items, but that is very nuanced. Like if you're one tricking, like if you are in a very bad spot in the game and you think that you can get best in slot items and that will save your game, then that. But that is very nuanced. 99% of the time, just build your items, man. Just build them. Sorry about the negative tone here, but it's very frustrating to me when people ask about best in slot and focus way too hard on it. I think really a lot of people need a reality check with that. Anyways, all right. Congrats on your best in slot items. Too bad you have 10 HP at stage 4. So yeah, that's the reality of looking for best in slot items every single game, is that you will have a lot of games where you'll have a lot of first or eighth games. You'll have a lot of your LP looking like the stock market, you know what I mean? Because you're just not playing your strongest board, or playing what you could the strongest build you could possibly do at the time. You know, there is a balance there between building the strongest you can do at the time and greeding. But, you know, if you don't know what to do, just start building as strong as you can. And then over time, you'll learn when are good times to greed. I think it's a lot easier to learn when are good times to greed instead of just having this terrible habit of always greeding, you know. Anyways, cool. Health equals econ. I have a whole video dedicated to this. I have multiple videos I have working on dedicated to this topic because it's so important. Econ equals health. They are the same resource. I find a lot of new players, once they start to find some success in the game, like they start playing ranked, they start to climb a little bit, they start to over-index in either econ or health in their games. This isn't always true, but I do see this a lot. Personally, happened to me a lot. I'd over-index in econ for a long time. You know, even when I was like someone who could like sniff in a grandmaster, I had a problem of not building strong mid-game boards and stuff like that. I think it's a really common problem. Rather, you should think about health and gold as the exact same resource. So what I mean by this is, or I'll talk about the next part. Almost every game you can control one of these resources, thus controlling both of them. Almost every single game. It's very, very, very rare that you get very poor econ and a poor opener. That is extremely rare. So for example, low roll versus high roll early. So for example, if you have a low roll early game, then that should tell you, which just means low roll early game, if you don't know what that means, just means that you have a weak early game board. Like you're running like Yordles or something, and everyone else has very strong, you know, someone hits a MF2 star or something on stage 2. So that should tell you that the advantage you're trying to work with that game is your econ advantage. So you should be focusing on building econ in the early game on stage 2 and the early parts of stage 3. And that should tell you that you should try to spike on the end of stage 3 or early stage 4. So you leverage that econ advantage into a stronger board earlier on in the game. Whereas if you're a high roll early, so you're that person who hit that, you know, you hit a Samira 2 or something like that, you will be leveraging a health advantage. So since you 2-starred at 3 cost, you're going to be down econ, obviously. And so you should be prioritizing building a strong board because you want to streak and you can recoup your econ that way. Even if you don't recoup your econ, if you get into stage, end of stage 3 and you're 90 HP with an average level of econ or maybe slightly below, that's a good spot to be in. But if you have like a high roll early or a low roll early and you don't try to leverage one of those resources, or you have a low roll early and you just try to build the strongest build possible, you're not going to beat those people who are high rolling, or you're not going to beat those people who are average rolling either. So you're just not even going to leverage any advantage. You're going to bleed out, and then you're going to blame Mort Dog for giving you a low roll early game. And if you're that high roll early game person and you're not trying to build the strongest board that you can, and then you start to bleed out, you have no econ, and then you get a 5th place, you'll blame Mort Dog for that as well, even though you high rolled, or you'll just think you have no idea how to play the game. So point is, you need to leverage what you are given each game and think about health and econ as the exact same resource. But this is a very complex topic that honestly I'm making several videos on because again, it's a complex topic. So TFT is just all about how you leverage both of these resources. You know, if you leverage one correctly, you are leveraging them both because they are the same. All right, spiking / knowing when you are strong. Every game you should be thinking about when is the comp / comps you're looking for going to be strong. So this is especially important when rerolling or playing a weak early game. Here's the example. If you're playing Twitch reroll, which I have a guide on, self-plug again, this is called a tempo comp, meaning it wins consistently on stage 3 and 4 or 4, but average or weak on stage 5 plus. It doesn't mean you can't win, but just think about comps in this way. This means when playing this comp, you will need to win stage 3 or stage 4 or both in order to get a good placement. So let's break that down a little bit. So if you're playing a Twitch reroll comp, this is the example. The comp is very strong on stage 3 and stage 4, just as I said. So that means in order for you to consistently win playing that composition, whenever you play that composition, you will need to win stage 3 and stage 4, or just stage 4 at the bare minimum, which is something that you need to be thinking about. So for example, I played a game of Twitch reroll last night. I had 40 health going into stage 4 because I lost every stage before that because I was trying to hit my Twitch reroll. And even though I hadn't hit my Twitch 3-star, and I'm level 5 going into stage 4, I just know that if I'm going to save this game, I have to full send to upgrade my Twitch to my 3-star and then make the strongest board possible on stage 4. I can't greed anymore because I have to win every round on that game. What ended up happening is I won every single round on stage 4. I secured a 3rd place by winning all of stage 4, even though I went into stage 4 with 40 HP. Late game, stage 5, just Twitch comp is just hit or miss. It really is just hit or miss on whether you can win the fight. So I can't rely on losing more on stage 4 and going to that. So that is an example of me, the player, and this can be you as well, knowing when my comp spikes. So you need to know this every single game you play and for all the comps that you're looking for. So how do you know when each comp is strong? The reality is you only know by playing the comp consistently or studying a guide for said comp/comp. So either you need yourself to play the comp a lot to get a feel for when it spikes and how you need to invest your gold, or you need to study another player who has mastered the comp or something like that. So for example, and I'm not trying to do these self-plugs, these are just good examples, but you know, why not self-plug on my own channel? For example, I'm very good at playing Twitch reroll. It's a comp that is in my repertoire. I think hardly anybody plays it, and I like playing it. So like a good example of this is you don't have to play that comp 10 times in a row to find how it is strong, because you could just look at my guide or look at someone else's guide. You know, for example, Ramblin is a great Arcanist player. So if you want to know how to play Arcanist, a better strategy instead of you just practicing it would be to watch a guide that he made, or an informational guide. I think he does written guides that he made, and then translate that into your gameplay and then get a feel after you start playing. So the reality is you just have to practice in order to know this. There's no amount of me just telling you. You'll need to practice that a little bit. Okay, cool. So roll down before you are one shot. Okay, I think this is a good beginner tip, but also a good intermediate to advanced tip. This is something that I failed to do a lot when I was like a hard stuck master, hard stuck low GM player. We have all been there. You roll down, you finally spike, and you die, and you log out, you uninstall League of Legends, and you're out of there because, you know, like, yeah, no matter how hard you spike, there will always be someone in the lobby that beats your comp most of the time. As well as poor fight RNG can just cause you to lose an otherwise winning matchup. Sometimes sometimes the dice just doesn't roll your way. Sometimes your unit that has a crazy strong ultimate is half a second from ulting, and then they get CC'd and then they die. And had they have ulted, you win the fight. That is so frustrating to me. There's a lot of those units gone out of this set of TFT, but you know, yeah, because there's no Ace or Vel'Koz. But still, you guys get the idea. You know, for example, if you're playing like snipers and you got best in slot Jhin, you hit a 2-star Jace, you're going, and then a Shaco 3-star. You roll into the Shaco 3-star player. He instantly kills your Jhin at the beginning of the fight. Fight's lost. You don't have a Bramble to kill him. You lose. And that was your only losing matchup in that whole game. But since you were one shot, the game's over. 6th place, 8th place, and you probably had the strongest board in the lobby, and you 8th place. Happens all the time. And sometimes, again, yeah, like I just said, you could just get poor matchup RNG and lose. So here are some one-shot range estimates if you're not really sure. These are just the estimates that I try to use for myself. These are minimum, by the way. I like to be way above these HP levels, but if I'm stage 4, if I'm below 15 or 15 or below, I consider myself a one-shot. Because if I'm not one-shot then, if I don't actually get one-shot, I'm definitely one-shot in the next stage. In stage 5, it's 20 health or below. That is a personal standard that I use for myself. I will always keep myself above 20 health before I try to spike. Now, these are minimum numbers. I like to be well above these numbers to feel comfortable about my placement. But yeah, so these are just some estimates that you can use pretty much every game if you want to. But again, you know, it really does depend on your lobby. But I think having a good rule for yourself on how low you allow yourself to get is good. It is good to have, especially when you are just starting out, and especially when you are not like super comfortable with the comp. If you're a one trick, you can probably manage this a little bit more nuancedly. But I like to have good rules set for yourself. Okay, here's another thing. It's okay to roll down on PvE. It doesn't matter if you make 5 extra gold if you die the next turn. What does it matter? So be honest with yourself about if you need 2 turns to do a transition. Guys, I'm a player that can hit Challenger. I hit Challenger anytime I want to. I still have to roll down during PvE all the time. You go watch Robin Songs. He's regularly rank 1. He was our #1 representative from NA going to Worlds. He regularly rolls on PvE. Just be honest with yourself. Are you capable of doing this transition in one turn? Do you think you're going to get dizzy? Just be honest with yourself. And if you can't, then take 2 turns to do it and use that PvE round to do that. I do it all the time. The only time I don't do this if I have a very simple comp I'm running, or if I am just extremely comfortable at flexing this comp. I know exactly the units I want. I know that I can do this roll down really fast. So just be really honest with yourself. It's okay. All right, here is the last tip. Have fun. Have fun. Now, come here for a second. Come here. Look me in the eyes. This is not a troll tip. If you're thinking about clicking off the video right now, I was like, oh, this guy just didn't have something to fill in at the end of the video, so he added this one on. This is not what this is. Having fun playing this game and having fun in a competitive game, and this is not true for everyone, but I attribute this to a lot of my success playing TFT in any competitive game I've ever played in my life. I haven't been successful at all of them, but I've been successful at several competitive games. And I found that this is one of the most important things, especially in TFT, that I have found to personally work for myself. So let's bring it back to the slides. I think you got enough of that. All right, this is not troll. I attribute a lot of my success in TFT to just enjoyment of the game. This is one of the funnest competitive games ever made. It's silly to me to be permanently upset about it, when honestly, the balance of the game is hardly ever like in an unplayable state or in a really bad state. I mean, sometimes it is, Warwick, but most of the time it's not. And so let me talk about how this actually translates to how you view the game and how you actually climb. So being tilted clouds your judgment. You will create false realities or personal truths that are not true about the game, that are not universal truths. So you yourself could be someone who plays like a lot of Arcanist or something like that, and you just keep getting tilted because people keep building decalls. Decal's broken. In reality, you're just playing too much AP, man. In reality, decal just happens to be a decent item, and maybe you should think about playing around it. Decal isn't broken; it just happens to be a good item, and a lot of people are playing AP, so maybe you shouldn't play AP. Maybe you should play something else. Maybe you should, you know what I mean? Anyways, I know personally several friends who are perma on tilt, and nothing will allow them to see the game differently because of this. And I am definitely guilty of this as well. And personally, I just don't play the game when I'm not having fun. If I'm not having fun, I think the meta sucks, or I think the meta is just unenjoyable to me. Like, the meta could be good, but it could just be unenjoyable. I just take a break. Now, this isn't going to work for everybody. And does this hold me back LP wise? 100%. This holds me back. But in the long run, this allows me to continue playing the game for a long time. It allows me to stay engaged with the game. It allows me to take less breaks. It allows me to make more videos and enjoy making them and enjoy teaching people. So for me personally, could my LP be higher if I just avoided having fun? Absolutely. I would be challenger right now. I always tell people I can be challenger anytime I want, and I'm not trolling. I'm not trolling when I say that. And the way that I can prove I'm not trolling when I say that is because every time I say I'm going to do it, I do it. So for example, in the regular sets, I don't really go for challenger. So like what I mean by regular set, like set 6 is like a regular set. I just try to enjoy the set. And I'll hit like Grandmaster. Maybe I'll sneak into Challenger. Right now I'm Grandmaster. A few weeks into the set, didn't even try to hit that. I'm just having some fun. And if I really was trying to climb, I would just be like, I'm gonna force. I'll just like force Jin Yone flex and play innovators every time it's there and stuff. But like that's just not what I like. And then when we get to the 0.5 sets, I always do a turbo grind. I hit Challenger just to prove that I can do it, so I can make these videos and stuff like that. And just to me, and this is me going a little bit on my personal journey, but I like to involve my personal journey into how I teach people. Is just to me, I could not play this game if I was not having fun. I just couldn't do it. Anytime I make those Challenger grinds, they are some of the worst times in playing this game ever. Like I'll be at my highest LP and I'll be at 1,000 LP and I will absolutely hate the game. But sometimes I'll be master 0 LP and I'll be having the time of my life. And that allows me to make that longer term enjoying the game and making those longer grinds later. What allows me to actually hit Challenger is those times that I spend just hanging out in master or GM and just having a good time. That's what actually allows me to climb and make those climbs later. So I suggest to a lot of people, and this obviously doesn't work for everybody, is to just enjoy the game. And whenever you want to hit your peak rank, just spend a lot of time doing that and then just enjoy it the rest of the time. And that just creates a lot of longevity for me, at least. All right, guys, that's gonna be it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you want more of me, I stream 5 days a week at twitch.tv/TradingTFT. And I am taking a break for the holidays, so I am gonna be out of town. I also upload a lot of TikToks at tiktok.com/@TradingTFT. I also have a Twitter that I post almost every single day, pretty much every day, multiple times a day. And I would love to see you guys on any of these socials. I would love to see you guys there. But if not, I'm just happy that you're here. If you like this video, please like the video. It helps me out a lot on YouTube. And if you made it all the way in this video and you want to leave a thoughtful comment, I would love to see it. I love reading your guys' comments also does help me with YouTube, but I do read every single comment and I respond to all the ones that are very thoughtful and all the good stuff. I just don't respond to the ones I don't think are worth responding to, like negative ones. I don't argue with people on the internet. I don't do that. Why would you argue with people on the internet? I don't get it. Anyways, all right. I appreciate all of you guys, and I hope you have a good day, a good night, and wherever you are, hope you're doing well. See you guys later. Bye.